Hi everyone, it's Sloan Rhodes here with your Spiritual Self-Mastery class, Ego and Heart, for the week of April 14th, 2019. I hope everyone is doing well, that you had a good week. I'm just thinking about last week's video, and the Temperance card in reverse showed up for me. My back went into spasm. I had injured it not that long ago moving some furniture. I'm pretty strong, but I was at a weird angle and I tweaked my back, and then so this week it came back up again. So I didn't escape the Temperance card in reverse, but I do feel much better now. But I did have a couple days where I really had to slow down, which is why I did the two poetry videos as well as the new meditative journey recording that I posted here on YouTube. So I hope that you enjoyed those. Those were inspired in part due to the fact that I was having to slow way down for a few days. All right, so as I do every week in these spiritual self-mastery classes, I'm going to be getting one card looking at how the ego may try to distract us, and also exploring the heart-centered energies in that same card, and then one card on what we can expect to look forward to regardless. Let's go ahead and get started. And all of these YouTube videos are available in audio format on iTunes, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, and there are links below. And if you are interested in the meditation tapes or the meditation recordings, there is a link here as well to the playlist. I do hope to do more of those, but when I do them, I don't have a script, so I will often fall asleep when I do them, and then they're not usable. So I have to figure out a better way of doing those. And I'm trying to get this video done before Game of Thrones tonight. I don't know if there are any other Game of Thrones fans out there, but I'm definitely watching tonight. Okay, for the week of April 14th, 2019. Cards are going everywhere. Okay, here we go. Ace of Cups and Four of Swords in reverse. We also have under the deck the Five of Cups as an underlying energy. It's kind of been lingering around. That's okay. You know, whenever we have an opening, as we do here with the Ace of Cups, oftentimes the heart awakens and opens because there has been some heartache. You know, something has occurred where we have to go deep, and the heart gets stirred. And here we have this beautiful Ace of Cups, and then we have the Four of Swords in reverse here. Rest time is over with that. All right, so let's take a look at the Ace of Cups, which is the main energy we're looking at. So it's funny because the Ace of Cups is such gorgeous energy. It's hard to imagine that the ego would dare to come in with Ace of Cups energy, but the ego is sneaky and clever, and always sort of present. So the Ace of Cups energy really is about an awakening, an opening, feelings of love and compassion, camaraderie, a renewed sense of self. It could be a renewal of a relationship, renewed feelings for someone or something. So it's really, really nice energy. And so even though it's really lovely energy, the ego sometimes, and I'm going to give out a couple of different examples for how the ego may try to come in to try to distract us with the Ace of Cups energy. But remember that you'll tune in to your own experience and figure out how your own ego gets you, hooks you in a little bit. But so some of the examples I'm going to give for the Ace of Cups energy in terms of the ego. And, I don't know how it's going to come in for all of us, because for some of you it may be having to do with work, money, it could be love relationships. However it shows up in the Ace of Cups energy, the ego will often come in a way to try to prolong it, right? It's available now, but then how can I make it last longer? How can I take this Ace of Cups energy and create something long-lasting with it? the ego is always interested in the future or the past. Very seldom does the ego rest in the moment. The ego usually has an agenda to surrounding feeling safe and feeling loved. And those are kind of the two primary concerns of the ego. So when we have this awakening, the ego may come in with, I need to make it last longer. We need to have a plan in place, or I need to protect myself because it may not last. So I want to make it last longer. I want to make sure that I conform to this new energy in order to sustain it, right? Because you don't want to change anything. So the ego can freak out sometimes when we have this beautiful Ace of Cups energy, even though it is a wonderful energy. But it depends upon where you're at with this and what it's about. It can come in very, very quickly sometimes out of fear that it won't last. And so it tries to, sometimes you can find yourself trying to, say it's a love relationship, right? When love is coming in, the heart is awakening, and you think, oh my God, the ego perceives this as something that is fleeting. You may even begin to change the way you are in order to, Chris Rock's the comedian, and one of his older specials, I remember he was saying, when people date, you don't date each other, you date each other's representative, because who would want to date you? So, you show up as your representative, It's kind of like that. You might try to send a representative in your place kind of thing. This is love coming in. Just be yourself, You are enough just as you are. But the ego may say, but you need to change things up a little bit, be a little bit different, be, a false sense of self. That's one way it can come in, certainly. Another way would be to hang on really, really tightly to it, to smother it, right? There's a way to give someone a hug and just enjoy the moment and heart to heart lovingly hug. And there's another way to hug where you hold really tight. You don't want to let go because you're afraid that if you let go, you won't get it back. And that is the ego. And we've all experienced some version of that. And also, what are you offering, here, we have this beautiful, hand extending here with this beautiful emotional offering. And so are you offering openly, or are you offering to hold on or to get something? The heart gives because the heart gives. The heart gives not in order to get something, but because that's what the heart does. The heart is always having experiences, having the experience of giving, having the experience of receiving, and just allowing things to be. But the ego, when the ego gives, usually it's in order to get something in return. And, be easy here because, there's a lot of ways that it can come in very sneaky ways. Your intention, of course, is not to love someone in order to have them love you. That's not your intention consciously. But the ego is unconscious, And so this is when you begin to even be aware that you might even hold that thought, which can be anathema to some of you. You may think, no, that's not me. I would never do that. Of course you wouldn't consciously, but that's where the ego thrives, is in the unconscious, right? But as soon as you give it as a possibility that you might, be doing that in some way, your ego might be wanting that in some way, then you take it away from ego and bring it into the light of conscious awareness where you can work with it and play with it and heal that part and begin to transmute that energy into something else, which is more open-hearted. So there's a lot of ways that it can come in here with the Ace of Cups. Let me see what else I want to say about that. And if it is a renewal of something, because the Ace of Cups can be about renewals, the ego can also come in with fear, a suspicion, it can't be that good. Because in the past it wasn't. In the past they did this or this happened. So do your best to keep your heart open this week to whatever is coming up. If it's a renewal of something, a renewal of a relationship, or a renewal of feelings, it's coming up for a reason, because you have had this period of some sadness, some feelings of loss, and some grief here. And it's through that loss and through that grief that your heart has softened. And the softening is what allows for the awakening, the opening. Now, what we can expect or look forward to regardless is the Four of Swords. So don't try to, if it's a love relationship, there may be a quickening here, a desire to speed things along. The Four of Swords, again, the rest is not happening here, so it may be You may feel very energized, or you may be swept up in the emotions here, and sometimes things can move faster than well, just sometimes they just move fast, maybe faster than you're really truly ready for, or the other person's ready for. So make sure that you're allowing yourself time to rest and process here. This is very kind of open energy, and that can feel to the ego scary, because the ego may feel vulnerable, and vulnerability to the ego tends to equate to being at risk, at risk of hurt, at risk of ridicule, at risk of failure, this kind of thing. So, and it may rush to a conclusion. It may rush to judgment. It may rush to try to seal a deal before it's really, really ready. So just go easy this week. We have the 5, which is, under the deck is this change energy. Number 5, we have the new beginning, and we do have, this is, with the 4 of Swords, we are at a place where we are approaching healing and transition, but it's very kind of babyish energy, new energy. So go easy, go gently. You wouldn't try to force a plant to grow faster. So if you have a little seedling come up, you're going to protect it. You're going to protect it from the rain and the wind and the sun, this kind of thing. So be gentle, be easy, and don't try to rush this week. And whatever comes up emotionally, do your best to hold space for it, and to allow things to kind of just be, without letting the ego take you by the hand into the past or too far into the future. Do your best to stay present with whatever is occurring that feels good, that feels enjoyable, and just allow it to be without rushing to any conclusions either way. Okay, so I hope that you find that helpful. I wish you much love as always, and I will see you either at your private appointment or over at Sloan Academy, where I have my online courses, or over at the audio podcast, where you can listen to this without the video when you're driving or walking the dog or going to sleep at night. And what else do I want to say? I think that's it. I hope everyone has a wonderful week. Much love to you all.